A ver, espera. Falta una cosa. Se me fue. El speech, el speech. Ahí estamos. Y el juego.
What a
Listo.
view. How about a quick break so I can sketch this beautiful scenery?
Sí, después hacemos el búsqueda. A ver, ¿qué nos queda por hacer? Ya hicimos la tarea de Lee. A ver. La historia antigua. ¿Por qué le ponen antigua? A ver, ya hicimos el hipótesis escrito para después. Y nos falta la tetera, dulce tetera. Esa es la que vamos a hacer. La actualización del... ¿Cómo se llama? ¿El mapa? Ya. A ver, ¿cuántas resina me quedan? Sí, va a estar lleno después de un rato. Pero primero, vamos a visitar a Madame Ping. A ver qué onda.
Ah, children, come, come. You've arrived at just the right moment. I've been looking for you.
Oh, what is it, Granny? Need any help?
Oh, no, no. You've done so much for Lea Harbor already. I could hardly ask for more. In fact, my old friends and I have been putting our heads together to think of what sort of gift we might give you in return.
A gift? For Paimon?
No, no es solo para ti.
Oh, child, you are so very modest. Uncommonly so, even. But you mustn't decline this gift. I simply won't allow it. When you traversed my old teapot in search of the cleansing bell, I heard your little friend mention that you often camp out in the wilds. That simply won't do. Especially since I imagine you still have a very long journey ahead of you. Fortunately, I have not yet grown so old as to see my subspace creation abilities atrophy.
Creación dimensional.
Did my friends never mention that to you?
No.
Well then, it is a blessing we old folks once received from Rex Lapis, part of our illumination, if you will. I will not go into too much detail, but subspace creation is the ability to create a small, autonomous pocket world. The teapot that you entered previously was a little trinket created using that ability.
Una dimensión del bolsillo en todo su esplendor, en todo su sentido literal.
So, in the eyes of an adeptus, creating a magic teapot world is just child's play, huh?
Oh, indeed, the teapot is nothing to boast of. One such as myself must depart from this realm to create a world of one's own. Rex Lapis, on the other hand, moved mountains and seas. That is what one might call an exercise of true power. But that's enough nostalgia for now. The gift that I have prepared for you just requires a few final materials to add the finishing touch.
¿Qué clase de
That's
materiales?
right! Finding stuff's what we're good at, after all.
Oh, settle down now, children. There's no need for you to go running hither and thither. I have already found a fleet-footed youngster to prepare what I need. What's more, I doubt that you would know how to find the materials I am searching for. Some of them are very rare indeed these days.
Parecido a la draconita, ¿no?
Well, for starters, I require some shimmer soil from the banks of Dihua Marsh. Back in the day, It could only be found where the glazed lilies thrived most profusely. You would have to dig downward, following the roots of the glazed lilies, and if you were lucky enough, you just might find a small patch of shimmer soil there. But almost no one has been able to find shimmer soil in this manner since Dihua Marsh came to be the way it is today.
Arcilla mágica
Even
para
more
una
difficult
flor
to
de
find is
mágica.
smaragdus jadeite, which must be chiseled from the rock of the chasm. Or so it used to be. Ever since the Blackcliff Forge opened for business, they've slowly but surely stripped the mines all but completely bare of
Roca de
it.
cima.
In any case, smaragdus jadeite is an adepti treasure, and the adeptal power within is not something that most humans can withstand. Extended contact with it is, in fact, harmful to humans.
Ojo el pal, ¿cómo andas?
Goodness
Bien,
knows if
bien,
that
aquí
child will
pasando
succeed in
piola
finding these
por la
items.
noche. ¿Cómo está Ilian? ¿Cómo le va?
Well, since you're an Adeptus, Granny, the person you asked for help, they must be an Adeptus too, right?
Yes. I suppose she does count as an adeptus.
She counts? How come there are so many Adepti in Liyue Harbor? We seem to bump into them all the time. It feels like even when you go out to eat, you could be sitting next to an Adeptus and never even know it.
Oh, maybe so. Who can say? A fair few of my old friends are rather fond of mundane mortal life, after all.
I'm back, Granny. Oh, I don't believe we've met.
Ah, allow me to do the honors.
Yanfei.
This child here is Yanfei. She's the
La
one
cara
helping
chica
run some
secretaria.
errands for me. Yanfei, I believe you already heard of the traveler and his traveling companion.
Of course, who hasn't? Much has been written about you in the Millilith's records. You became one of Liyue's most wanted after the Millilith marked you as a suspect following the incident at the Rite of Dissension. After which, you fought off the Millilith at Julian Karst and made contact with the Fatui. Before finally defeating an ancient god together with Granny and her associates, and subsequently being cleared of any and all suspicion by the Chiseng. What a shame.
¡Qué pena!
A shame that we didn't meet sooner. If we
Ah,
had, well, I can't say that I would have been able to clear you of suspicion immediately, but it certainly would have been less, embarrassing for you.
ya después de todo lo que me comentaste, ya me siento un poco
Como amplo a un
ofendido.
Ragnakadaki, me da miedo la Wii, es una araña de fuego gigante, y encontré a los 5 de la fauna loca secreta y un nido de búhos.
El Ragnakadaki, pues... La verdad es que no tengo mucha idea. También fui a ciegas, de hecho. Fue la primera especie que lo enfrento. Fui con armas de agua. No sé si le habrá hecho efecto en sí, pero igual es peligroso. Si te llega a tirar en los hilos, utiliza un limpiador para que te liberes de golpe.
Allow me to introduce myself once more. I'm Yanfei, a legal advisor. Got a legal problem? You can come right to me.
Ah, qué bonita.
Oh, yes. Here's my business card. You'll find it has my contact details and office address. Keep it handy.
Señorita, esa es una mano vacía. No tiene ninguna tarjeta ahí encima.
If you have an urgent issue, just leave me a note at this address. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, I offer a very generous discount for first-time customers.
All right, Yanfei, all right. Let's get to the business at hand. I do not think these two are in any dire need of legal assistance at the moment. You'll have to excuse Yanfei. She's always been like this, ever the talkative one when it comes to her own affairs.
Es como una manera de buscar clientes para su negocio.
Paimon was gonna ask the same question. You seem really different from the ones we've met before.
An Adeptus? I guess. Kinda. My old man said he was one anyway. He mentioned that he once campaigned with Rex Lapis for a long old time, and then after that was all over, he went back and married my mom. They had me, and once I was all grown up, the two of them upped and left on a journey, leaving me with Granny here.
Well, that's a bit casual for an Adeptus. Aren't you guys supposed to sign contracts to protect Liyue Harbor and all that stuff? What do you mean he just went back to get married?
Well, my dad did say that he'd talked it through with Rex Lapis and that he was fine with it. Even contributed towards the wedding gift, apparently.
Bueno, al menos tuvo un trato especial con Zhongli, de cierta forma.
Anyway, let's not dwell on that too much. So, Granny, I've gotten a hold of most of the stuff you asked for, except for Smaragdus Jadeite. I couldn't find any at all. The chasm's been sealed off, and there's just no way in. Couldn't secure any documentation either. Looks like the Ministry of Civil Affairs is serious about keeping it strictly locked down.
¿Cerraron Cima? ¿Significa que por eso no se podía pasar por ese sector tan cercano?
Is that so? But Smaragdus Jadeite is really rather essential. Yanfei, are you sure you can't find some other way? They have helped Liyue greatly, after all. It is only right that they are duly rewarded.
I know, Granny, you've told me 1,000 times already. Well, the chasm's definitely a no-go, but there's still a chance we can figure out some alternative means of procurement. Hold on a moment. Let me have a look.
Whoa, that's a really thick book. What kind of things do you write in there?
Commercial consultancy. Or Snezhnaya. Ah, found him. Krusel. A Snezhnayan merchant who once came to me with some legal queries on certain articles in the legal codices. If my memory serves, all of them had to do with rare ores.
Mira,
He mentioned that he was considering acquiring some Smaragdus Jadeite to make hairpins, and wanted to know if there were any legal ramifications that he should be aware of. Said he was planning to sell them in Snezhnaya. So, I guess I'll go look for him. With any luck, he'll have gotten his hands on some Smaragdus Jadeite, or might have an idea of where we can find some.
Cierto.
Oh, you want to join me? I suppose that's no problem, but it's best if you just stand by and watch. If you try to get involved, you'll only risk placing yourself in legal jeopardy.
Wow, an Adeptus imploring us to avoid incurring legal liability. Well, that's a first for sure.
Sí.
Best we be a little more careful than usual while we're with her.
Sí, al menos hace algo que Ganyu no hace. Imagínate si ya no hubiéramos metido problemas de hace rato. Otra vez. Y sí, vi las fotos de hecho, Ilian. Me faltó los otros 4. Aparte del caracol ancestral, eso. Los demás, no sé en qué condiciones había que verlo. Pero por el momento no es mi prioridad. Pero si hay alguna misión que lo pide, pues ahí lo busco. Está abajo, vaya. Nos vamos para abajo.
Hello, Mr. Krusel. How's business been?
Oh, good, very good. All thanks to your advice, Miss Yanfei. What brings you here today?
You're too kind. I was simply doing my job. Now, I believe that the last time we met, you mentioned that you were looking to source some Smaragdus Jadeite to make hairpins. Have there been any further developments on this front?
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, in the end, I did acquire a small piece of Smaragdus Jadeite and had it fashioned into a pair of hairpins. Miss Yanfei, might I presume that you have an interest in the hairpins? I must apologize. I've already rented them out to a lady named Zhi. If you'd like to inspect them, you may have to wait quite some time.
Wait, isn't Smaragdus Jadeite really rare? Aren't you worried about the hairpins getting damaged or lost while they're being rented out?
No, I'm not worried in the slightest, because I signed a contract with Miss Zhi before renting them to her. The contract makes it quite clear that if she loses or damages the item in question, she must compensate me for its full original value. In return, I included a clause that guarantees the Smaragdus Jadeite is genuine, with a penalty of 10 times the item's value payable by me to Ms. Jiqiao in the event that it is shown to be a fake.
Suena demasiado conveniente para hacer ese trato en todo caso.
Guaranteed genuine, with 10 times the value payable if this claim is shown to be false. Yes, these terms are very clear indeed.
Of course. This way, both the client and I have the assurance we need. To ensure fairness, each of us has retained an original copy of the contract.
In that case, might you know where Miss Chow lives? We'd like to pay her a visit and have a look at the hairpins.
Oh, of course. She wrote her address down when we signed our contract. Here, I'll mark it on your map for you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Crossell. We'll be off now.
Ahora habrá que volver con la señorita Shisao. Que no sé quién es, la verdad. No me acuerdo de quién es. Yo sé que estuve viendo el stream de Ilia de por sí y no pesqué esa parte, justamente esa. Bueno, pero ya estamos por aquí cerca. Acá está. ¿Te digo que se le perdió?
Oh, whatever shall I do? Yes, that's me. Is there something I can help you with?
How do you do, Miss Chow?
¿Pescar qué
We
cosa?
understand from Mr. Crossell that you recently rented a pair of hairpins from him.
¿Pescar? Ah, no, pescar tu streaming. Pescar en la parte donde... En esta misma misión, según recuerdo.
My associates and I are very interested
¿Conoces
in
si lo
them.
pasaste?
Would you mind letting us take a look at them?
Estuve muy distraído, de la verdad, mientras estaba espiándote desde el Discord.
The hairpins. I can't lend them to you
Lo
right
sabía.
now. I've lost them. I don't know how it could have happened. I always kept them right by my side, and I hadn't even worn them yet. I spent so much money on them. If I have to pay their original value, there's no way I could come up with that amount of money on such short notice. My family is in the ore business too, but business has been suffering ever since the chasm was sealed off. We now have a backlog of paid-up orders just sitting around.
Me
so
di
we've been
cuenta que
having
los
to purchase
árboles
some
se
stock
restaurúan
from
casi
other
cada
ore
20
merchants to
minutos para
complete
seguir
them.
sagnado madera.
A big
Yeah.
banquet is coming up in a few days, and several ore merchants I know of will be there. I need this opportunity to mingle and discuss prices. That's what the hairpins were for, to keep up appearances. I can't have them looking down on me. But now that I've lost the hairpins, what will I do?
Why does Paimon have a sudden strong sense of déjà vu?
Would you really? I sent a commission to the Adventurers Guild, but I haven't heard anything back from them yet.
Hold on. Don't run off looking for the hairpins just yet. Miss Chow, would you let me have a look at the rental contract you signed?
Huh? Well, I mean, sure, I have it right here.
Contrato?
Here you are.
Let me see.
That's right! Yanfei said she's a legal advisor, didn't she? Maybe she can help Jiqiao somehow.
Eso sería un poco injusto para Crossell.
True. Though surely there must be a win-win solution.
Right. I finished reading the contract. The terms are very clear, and they do indeed stipulate that you must pay Mr. Crossell the original value of the hairpins as compensation for the loss. Furthermore, the contract also expressly states that the amount of compensation must take current market prices into account. And given the rarity of Smaragdus Jadeite, I fear that the final amount of compensation may end up being significantly higher as a result.
Even higher.
Mucho mayor. Oh, no le da ninguna solución a la señora.
Uh-oh. Jiqiao looks like she's about to faint.
However, all of this is assuming that it is indeed genuine Smaragdus Jadeite that was inlaid into the hairpins.
Did you really have to pause before saying that part? Anyway, the hairpins are lost, so how exactly would we be able to find out if the jadeite is genuine or not? Whichever way you look at it, we've got to start by finding those hairpins.
Except that if we found the hairpins, there'd no longer be any need to check whether the jadeite is genuine, would there?
Cállate, Paimon. Estamos viendo si las horquillas también son genuinas.
Seems right.
Please. Please, Don't trouble yourselves over this. The fact is, I lost the item and I should pay compensation per the contract. However much it is, I will have to pay it. My family are merchants after all. It's vital that we keep our word and respect our contracts. Now that it's come to this, I really shouldn't keep Crossel in the dark any longer. I'll go and inform him of the issue and then negotiate the amount of compensation.
Yes, legally speaking, it seems this is the most sensible course of action. But before that, I have some questions about the hairpins. So hold on a moment, Mr. Chow. When you first touched the hairpins, what did you feel?
What did I feel? Well, I remember that the gemstones set into the pins were perfectly smooth to the touch, like the finest quality jade. My family has seen much jade pass through its hands in the past, so I am quite certain of my judgment in this matter.
Smooth to the touch. Finest quality jade. No, it's nothing. I just need to re-examine a few things. Let's head over to Mr. Crossel's.
Supongo que algo tenía que ver con la textura de las joyas. Vamos a ver.
Why'd they have to give me that
Ah, Miss Yanfei, you've returned. With Miss Jiqiao in tow, too, I see. How are the hairpins? I trust you're quite satisfied with them?
About that.
You lost them? Are you serious? Do you have any idea how expensive they were?
I'm sorry. Truly I am. I'll pay the compensation as per our contract. Every last mora.
Mora? Do you have any idea what I had to go through to get my hands on that Smaragdus jadeite? I just don't... Forget it. Talking won't bring them back. Since Miss Yanfei is here, I suppose we can just have her estimate the amount that needs to be paid.
No problem. But before I can give an official estimate, I'll need to do a little market research. Ah, yes, and if I may just confirm again, it was in fact genuine Smaragdus jadeite inlaid into the hairpins, correct?
Of course! Genuine article guaranteed, or I pay back 10 times the value.
All right, understood. I'll conduct some market research, and once I'm back, I'll provide an official assessment of the sum owed by Mr. Chow in compensation. Please wait here, Mr. Crossel.
Thank you very much. How could she lose my hairpins? She'd better pay every last mora that they're worth.
Looks like I'll have to find some way to raise that money.
Please wait, Mr. Chow. I have something to discuss with you. It's not convenient to speak here, so let's find somewhere that we can sit and talk in more detail.
Why'd they have to give me that transfer?
Ay, creo que se pegó. Ah, no está.
My friend, what can I...
Bueno, vamos a negociar cuánto tiene que valer esas horquillas de jadeíta, ¿qué se llama? No sé, está cobrando mucho. Muchos temas. Bueno, no sé, ni siquiera pusieron valor. ¿Cuánto valía esa cosa? Es que es un mineral raro por las sierras de cima, pero no estoy seguro. Bueno, vamos a ver.
I can't believe the well got polluted.
Miss Yanfei, what is this about? Are you here to tell me how much I owe?
No. What I wanted to talk about is, there is a chance that the ore inlaid on those hairpins may not be Smaragdus jadeite after all.
Pues puede ser.
What do you mean? Are you implying that you already sneaked off and found them?
Obviously not. I'm no adventurer, let alone a member of the guild. I don't run thankless, time-consuming errands for a living. Let's just say I made some deductions. I don't know if Granny told you this, but Smaragdus jadeite is found deep underground and contains very concentrated elemental energy. If mere mortals come into contact with it, well, they'll be sick in the best case. And in the worst case, they could even experience a dramatic change of personality. it most certainly would not be smooth to the touch.
Verdad, me olvidé ese
Mr. Chow,
detalle.
did you at any time feel unwell while the hairpins were in your possession?
No, not at all. I felt perfectly fine the whole time. Not even the slightest bit unwell. I didn't feel anything special at all, in fact.
Now that is strange. I noticed earlier that there were elemental traces in Mr. Crossel's vicinity. If I've deduced correctly, he may still have the Smaragdus Jadeite in his possession.
If that's the case, we should go confront him right now and expose his dirty scam right to his face!
Sí, ¿con qué pruebas vamos a sacarle conclusiones?
Absolutely not. If we were to confront him now, there's no way he would admit to it. Eventually, he would find some argument to compel us to leave. And then, he'd throw the Smaragdus Jadeite into the sea the moment we were gone. After that, he would simply insist that Mr. Chow pay up per the contract. He would lose nothing. Meanwhile, we would have to look under every stone in Liyue, hoping and praying that the hairpins do actually still exist somewhere in this world.
So vivid that Paimon thinks it might be experience talking.
Oh, it certainly is. I've seen my fair share of situations like this, and brute force methods are certainly one way of resolving them. Fortunately, I have far more elegant solutions at my disposal. I'll share them with you in due course.
Well then, since you're so experienced in dealing with problems like this, perhaps you could help me, Miss Yanfei.
Oh, that won't be a problem. But first, Mr. Chow, can I ask you to please sign this contract?
Huh?
¿Otro
Does
contrato?
there have to be a contract for everything? Paimon can't even keep track.
Si me pagaron una mora por cada vez que escucho la palabra contrato, ya me compraría una PlayStation 5.
It feels like Yanfei is even more concerned with them than a certain someone else we know.
These are my formal terms of engagement. Everything prior to now has just been pro bono advice. But for me to investigate any further, I require a written contract. Any work commissioned but not bound by a contract cannot be relied upon.
I understand. Then I will be glad to place this matter into your capable hands if you will take it, Miss Yanfei.
No problem. Just sign here, and I'll sign too. Okay. Now write your address here, and then sign on this page as well. And I'll also need your signatures on pages 5, 7, and on the very last page. Finally, if you could just use this ink pad to make a handprint over here.
Momento, pero esto no es tema de registro civil como para estar firmando varias weas.
This contract has so many pages. Paimon's all out of brain juice again.
Qué dolor de cabeza.
Alright, that should do it. My fees are the same as always, and they're written in the contract. Have a look through and let me know if you have any questions.
I've had a read through.
O no la burocracia
Everything
de...
checks out.
Sí, nos está atacando la burocracia en este país.
Well then,
En este
here's
lugar.
your copy of the contract.
Se nota que se
I will
parece mucho a
retain the
China.
other copy.
Ahí se maneja mucho la burocracia, según recuerdo.
Not for now, no. Despite how intractable this problem might sound, it will actually be quite straightforward to resolve, once we've got some things squared away. I don't believe you have been part of an investigation like this before, in which case, hopefully this should be quite the experience.
Miss Yanfei, I have to ask, why are you helping me?
Because, as it happens, I'm currently trying to acquire some Smaragdus Jadeite myself. I noticed strong traces of geoenergy around Mr. Crossel, so perhaps he has, in fact, secured some. Whether he actually made it into an item of jewelry or not is a separate matter, but either way, it's a lead. As long as we follow it, who knows? We might just be able to get our hands on some Smaragdus Jadeite.
Me acabo de dar cuenta de algo. No sé, puede que sea idea mía, pero creo que la voz de Yanfei es la misma de Rekin de Fire Emblem Heroes, la heroína legendaria del libro 5.
Also, the idea
Me
of
acabo de
some
dar cuenta de
abusing the
eso.
law to their advantage, I won't stand for it. But again, let's not dwell on this. Let's go to... where can we find someone who processes ore? Ah, I've got it! Let's pay a visit to Chateau, the boss of the Jade Mystery. He's a professional when it comes to working with stone and ore. If Mr. Crossel had his ore worked on at all, Chateau would undoubtedly have been his first choice.
Ya, aquí por lo menos sí me acuerdo. Ay, se está pegando un poco el juego. ¿Qué pasó? Pero un momento, voy a hacer unos arreglos, ¿ya? Es que recién se actualizó los controladores de Nvidia y parece que está como medio raro, se anda viendo medio raro el juego en sí, se está como pegando. Necesito cortarme el pelo, en serio. Me está picando mucho las orejas ya. Chito, ¿cómo te va?
Why, hello there, honored customers. Welcome to. Oh, it's you, Miss Yanfei. Is something the matter? Surely not more spurious claims that my jade betting is rigged and no one can ever win. Oh, I swear on all that is sacred.
No, nothing of the sort. Has a Snezhnine merchant named Crossel enlisted your ore processing services recently by any chance?
A Snezhnayan merchant named Crossel, you say? I do remember that. He brought me a piece of ore, claiming that it was Smaragdus jadeite. That was the first time I'd ever encountered it, so I had no way of telling if it was really Smaragdus jadeite or not. But if a customer insists, far be it from me to contradict them. He was quite generous with his money, too, so I didn't give it too much thought. I processed the ore as per his request.
Do you have any leftover debris from your work on it?
Why, yes. It was my first time encountering this ore, after all, so I kept a few loose shavings to study myself later. They're right over there, in fact.
Thank you,
repente que
sir.
siga vivo.
We'll take a look at them.
Me sorprende que siga vivo el tipo.
If my eyes don't deceive me, the cross-sections and patterning suggest that these are Smaragdus nephrite shavings. Yes, it's not particularly rare, nor is it especially valuable. It's used to make jewelry all the time. I've heard it said that Smaragdus nephrite is in fact the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite, though no one's ever proven it.
A thin layer of separation, huh?
If you must see for yourself, try examining these shavings for traces of elemental energy. Smaragdus nephrite is an entirely ordinary ore, containing no elemental energy whatsoever.
Is that so? Well, we might as well give Elemental Sight a shot. So, did you find anything? So they really are different. But wait, how come Jichao was able to tell what it was just by looking at the shards? That's pretty awesome.
A ver, entonces.
There's nothing special to it. It just so happens that I've come across a great many of these in my time.
¿Ah, sí?
These two stones actually look very similar. Someone without a deep understanding of them would find it very difficult to tell them apart. There may be only a subtle difference for the casual viewer, but that translates to an astronomical difference in terms of the market price. And, I'm sure, a significant difference in the cost of having them carved into shape.
Eso es cierto.
All right, let's focus up. We're going off on a tangent.
But, never mind, Shirto. Why would Mr. Crossel...
Unusual actions have unusual reasons behind them. Let's take some of these shavings back to Chateau.
Nefrita Asmaractus. Otro tipo de jade debe ser.
Miss Yanfei? Might I be so bold as to inquire,
If you could just confirm for me once more, sir. Mr. Crossel did indeed claim that the ore he brought to your store was in fact Smaragdus jadeite, did he not?
Yes, that's right. I still have a record of the job with me, in fact. Here. It says quite clearly, 1 chunk Smaragdus jadeite, uncut.
Then I have no further questions. But could I borrow the processing record and these stone shavings?
Of course. But might I ask why you need them?
Oh, I have my reasons. Ah, yes. Please sign here on this affidavit. This document shall serve as signed proof that these stone shavings originated from the, ore that Mr. Crossell brought to your store. Please read it carefully.
Yes, I see. Forgive me for asking again, Miss Yanfei, but might I know the nature of the incident on this occasion?
I wouldn't say there's been an incident, just a minor issue. Thank you, sir. I'll take these with me.
With this hard evidence to back us up, Crossell won't dare try to deny what he did.
Ahora sí.
On the contrary, this is far from sufficient to build a case. We need to find something a little more compelling. If you want to make jewelry, you need a professional jewelsmith. Let me think. Jewelry. Nope. Aha! Got it! Sinxi. She often helps people to find a jewelsmith. Let's go pay her a visit.
Well, that was quick. How come you know so many people?
Because lots of people come to me for legal advice every day. As you know, Liyue Harbor is the city of contracts. And contracts, well, I should say laws, are very important to us.
Es como
But the
estar
amendments made by the
acordándose de los
Tianquan to
clientes que
our
normalmente
laws
se
are
vienen a su tienda, por así
unnecessarily
decirlo.
complicated. How can I put this? It
Recuerda
just
que por
seems
lo
like
menos
they're hard to
mm,
understand and impossible to finish. As such, legal advisors like myself provide quite the popular service indeed.
me acuerdo de las veces que yo trabajaba en la tienda M Verde, y por lo menos ya reconocía un par de clientes que de repente se venían muy seguido en sí. Por eso ya se le conocía muy seguido y qué gustos más o menos tenía.
So you help them make sense of the law. But didn't you say that it's hard to understand and impossible to finish?
Yes, well, that's no obstacle because I've memorized all the legal codices.
You memorized them?
Chua.
You sound surprised. Knowing the law inside out is a legal advisor's bread and butter, you know?
Sí, el tema es que el de memorizarlo todo ya es otro tema.
Oh, this has nothing to do with being an adeptus. I just like reading things.
Again, with that casual tone.
Well, that's that then. Let's go look for Sinxi.
La futura abogada, claro que sí. Bueno, vamos a ver entonces. Supongo que esto va a usarse como evidencia luego. Ya decía el por qué me mencionaba el nombre de Sinxi.
Oh, Miss Yanfei, it's you. Has something happened? Did the client from last time,
Have no further trouble from then on? Yes, of course. I'm just
Abogada
here to
tenía
ask
que
you a
ser.
few questions. Has a merchant by the name of Crossell asked you to put him in contact with a jewelsmith recently?
Crossell? Yes, I remember him. He's a merchant from Snezhnaya, no? Yes, he came to me with a chunk of something he called Smaragdus Jadeite. The design of the hairpins that he gave me was quite intricate, so it took me some work to find someone who was up to the job. Eventually, I found an older jewelsmith who made them exactly according to his specifications. This order was on hold for a very long time, and only completed quite recently, which is why I remember it so well.
Doesn't seem like there's any evidence to be found here.
Miss Sinxi, I'd like for you to confirm for me once more. When Mr. Crossell commissioned you to find him a jewelsmith, did he or did he not assert that the material he presented to you that day was called Smaragdus Jadeite?
Yes, I'm sure of it. The hairpins were made using many expensive materials, and the asking price was quite high, so we had to put this transaction on record with the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Mr. Crossell wasn't very familiar with the necessary procedures, so I filed it on his behalf. I also kept a copy for my own records. See for yourself, the item is called Smaragdus Jadeite Twin Phoenix Pins. The inlaid gemstone is recorded as Smaragdus Jadeite. The document even has the official seal of the ministry on it.
Thank you, Sinxi. Now, could you let me borrow this document?
Sure, it isn't serving much purpose here anyway. I take it then that there's been some more trouble?
Nothing you need to worry about, just a minor issue. I'll return your document as soon as I'm done with it. Thanks again.
Why is everyone's first reaction always to assume someone or something is in trouble?
Supongo que sí, son los asesores legales.
I believe we have almost all the evidence we need. We just need to make one last trip. Let's go to Boo Boo Pharmacy to speak with Dr. Baiju.
The weirdo with the snake around his neck? What do you want to speak to him for?
That weirdo.
Because only he can provide an authoritative statement confirming that Smaragdus Jadeite is harmful to the human body.
Cierto.
Once we have this final
Es
piece of evidence in our
prácticamente
hands,
hablarle con el
we can
doctor
wrap
del
this case
pueblo.
up.
Lo que sabe qué síntomas puede tener una persona al encontrarse con algo venenoso o algo parecido. Ahí está. Dr. Baisu.
My, to what do I owe the pleasure? Though I'm afraid that if you're looking for our little Chi-Chi, she's out gathering herbs. And if it isn't Miss Yanfei as well, now that's an even rarer honor. What business brings you here, might I inquire? Some charlatans peddling ineffectual medicines again, no doubt?
No. I'm here this time to ask if you're familiar with Smaragdus Jadeite.
Smaragdus Jadeite? Why, yes, there is some information about it included in the 6th commentary on the 7 Mountain Treatises. The 7 Mountain Treatises states that this substance springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains, and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. It is abundant in elemental energy, so if someone without a vision is in contact with it for a prolonged period, best case scenario, they fall ill. Worst case scenario, they'll suffer great changes in personality and their illness will only ever get worse.
Es como si la energía elemental estuviera manejándose por todo su cuerpo, afectando. Es como la radiación, por así decirlo. Solamente que aquí es un poco más mágico.
Anyway, I'm sure you didn't come all this way just to chit-chat. Knowing you, Yanfei, and given the specific nature of your question, I suppose that you're about to ask me to write an official affidavit attesting to the pharmaceutical peculiarities of Smaragdus Jadeite?
That is indeed the case. If you would be so kind, Dr. Baiju.
No trouble at all. It's just a single document. Won't take me a moment. I would mention, though, that you are not the only one who's developed a curiosity for Smaragdus Jadeite recently. A Snezhnayan merchant came to ask me about it not long ago. But after I gave him my reply, his expression shifted to one of remarkable disappointment. I wonder, Miss Yanfei, if your pressing business might be related to this Snezhnayan
como el uranio.
merchant?
Ah, you needn't concern yourself about that, Dr. Baiju. Thank you for penning us that document. I'll make sure to compensate you in due course.
No tiene cómo manejarse con el uranio, no tiene cómo manejarse con esas piedritas de por sí.
You're too kind. Take care now.
Su exposición es muy peligrosa.
That
Take
Baiju
care
guy
now,
is as weird as ever. Is it just Paimon, or does it feel like he was fishing for something back there?
Dr. Baiju's always been like that. Well, we have the evidence we need. Let's go find Mr. Crossell.
Ahora sí podemos confrontar a Crossell. ¡Wii! Bueno, ya no está la tipa de la pelea de las torres. Hay una lata hacer esa misión, de hecho.
Miss Yanfei, have you finished your investigation? I trust you will now be in a position to assess the compensation due.
Yes, my investigation is indeed concluded. I can now provide a final figure for the amount payable.
Wonderful. Well then, please, could you do the honors, Miss Yanfei?
Of course. According to the stipulations of the contract, Mr. Crossell, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original transaction price in Mora.
Sure. Wait, what? Me pay her? Surely there's been some kind of mistake, Miss Yanfei.
Not at all. According to my investigations and the material evidence that we've gathered, the substance claimed to be Smaragdus Jadeite that was inlaid within the Smaragdus Jadeite twin phoenix pins that you rented out to Mr. Chow was, in fact, Smaragdus Nephrite. Now, the contract states very clearly that 10 times the price shall be paid should the article not be genuine.
Cierto.
Accordingly, you are liable for this sum, which is payable to Mr. Chow in Mora.
Material evidence? What material evidence? Why, Miss Yanfei, you cannot frame me like this. I spent a huge sum to obtain that Smaragdus Jadeite, and yet you claim that the ore inlaid on the hairpins is somehow fake? I demand to see your evidence.
Indeed. Only a testimony from an expert witness involved in the processing of the ore can serve as an authoritative assessment of whether it is genuine. Traveler, please produce the evidence in question.
El misterio del jade.
This is a processing record from the Jade Mystery, along with stone samples and an affidavit signed by the business owner, Chateau.
Seriously? Even the boss there couldn't differentiate between Smaragdus Jadeite and Smaragdus Nephrite. How does this prove anything? In any case, Smaragdus Nephrite is the outer layer of Smaragdus Jadeite. So I had him cut away the Nephrite, he returned the valuable Jadeite core to me, and some Nephrite samples remain in the store. What am I missing exactly?
That's an unsubstantiated belief.
Well, your claim that my ore is fake is just as unsubstantiated. And we are here to talk about evidence, aren't we?
Ugh. Looks like our first piece of evidence didn't convince him at all. Seems like he came prepared. What should we do next?
Hard evidence, something legally binding. We have just the thing. Show him, Traveler. Oh, come on. I meant the backup copy of the document from the Ministry of Civil Affairs. The one we got from Xingxi of Mingxing Jewelry.
Bueno, sí, pero igual el tema de la salud ya también es importante. Y siempre es la mejor prueba hasta el momento.
This document proves that my hairpins are the real deal, doesn't it? This is the Ministry's seal, after all. It shows that the ore inlaid on the pins is indeed Smaragdus Jadeite.
Our second piece of evidence didn't work either. And this guy's getting more belligerent by the second.
You know, you could be right.
Insert el tema
Perhaps
de...
the hairpins are the real deal after all.
Of course I'm right. All the evidence shown supports my story.
Well, hang on a moment now, because
Hold
I
it.
do recall one final piece of evidence that we haven't revealed yet. Traveler, would you do the honors? This shall serve as decisive proof of our case.
Take that!
What's this?
Smaragdus Jadeite springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. Sustained contact with Smaragdus Jadeite over a prolonged period will, in less serious cases, cause a mild malady, while in serious cases, the patient may suffer a dramatic change of personality and fall seriously ill. Mr. Crossell, were you aware of these peculiar properties of Smaragdus Jadeite?
I had no idea.
No idea, you say? I'd guessed as much. But for you to have rented out such a dangerous item... I'm afraid that this falls outside the scope of my work, but within that of the Ministry of Civil Affairs. However, I'm sure that the Ministry will be relatively lenient considering that, as you say, you were ignorant of the danger you posed. Don't worry, Mr. Crossell. I will make sure that all the evidence presented here will be handed over to the Ministry. I trust that you'll give them your full cooperation in their investigations.
What? Wait! I knew.
Oh, so you knew? Oh, dear Mr. Crossell. But if you knew of Smaragdus Jadeite's dangerous properties beforehand, why would you...
Huh? No, The hairpins aren't actually
inlaid with genuine Smaragdus Jadeite? Is that what you were about to say? You do understand, Mr. Crossell, that this means that you will have to pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original price in Mora?
Como dice el contrato.
Mr. Crossell, your answer, please. My client and I are waiting.
Yanfei's seriously intimidating right now. It's like she's a different person.
Así que así son las asesoras legales.
I admit it. I confess. The ore I had inlaid on those hairpins was Smaragdus nephrite. But I'm a victim in all of this too. I invested a great deal of time and money into acquiring that small amount of Smaragdus jadeite, in the hopes of turning it into a piece of jewelry that would fetch a fine price. But after receiving it and carrying it around for a few days, I started to feel extreme discomfort. I couldn't sleep a wink or eat a single bite. I was in a constant state of agitation, too. I went to Boo Boo Pharmacy to get myself checked out, only to discover that this sort of stone cannot be worn as jewelry. But how could I let all that money go to waste? That's why I had another pair of hairpins made from Smaragdus nephrite, which is almost indistinguishable from Smaragdus jadeite. I kept the real Smaragdus jadeite in a specially made box. I daren't touch it again. I was worried that someone would see through it, which is why I only dared to rent them out, not sell them. And then to top it all off, Chichao lost the hairpins after I rented them out to her.
Pero eso no es problema nuestro, po. Si ya sabías que de por sí ya eso era peligroso y aún así cambiaste la receta. Y te aseguraste, por lo menos. Entonces pensaba defraudar a la señorita Shichao. O Chichao.
Exactly. If they weren't the real deal, why'd you make her pay so much?
I didn't want to either, but when I purchased that Smaragdus jadeite, some of my business partners found out. I knew they'd be watching closely to see how much I could make off it. If word got out that I sold a pair of fake hairpins, then my days in this line of business would be over.
All right, let's cut the appeals phase right there. I failed to see what bearing any of this has on your transaction with my client. According to the contract, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original price in Mora, and that is final.
Lamentablemente sí. Es parte del contrato. Lo firmaste, lo imprimiste, lo pusiste y ahí quedaste.
10 times?
Como tú dijiste.
Croso looks like he could faint any second.
As for me, according to my contract with Mr. Chow, 20% of that sum will go to me.
20%? That's as much as I spent on that Smaragdus jadeite.
There's no need. It's fine. You don't have to pay me that much, Mora. Even if the Smaragdus jadeite on those hairpins was fake, I still bear responsibility for losing them. Legally or not, I think I owe some compensation for that.
Ms. Jichao, you...
However, Mr. Crossell, since you have no use for that chunk of Smaragdus jadeite, why don't you give it to me instead? I'll consider us even.
Mínimo, mira, la señorita le está dando otra oportunidad para poder hacer el negocio.
What? But all right then. This cursed rock's brought me enough grief as it is.
Miss Yanfei, I'll turn the Smaragdus jadeite over to you. I trust that it will suffice as remuneration?
Well, that's not quite how the rules say this should go. But whatever, it'll do.
Thanks so much for your help this time, Miss Yanfei. When you have the time, I'll be sure to visit and express my thanks more appropriately.
Oh, come on. No need to stand on ceremony. Now, if I may confirm this again, Mr. Chow, have you and Mr. Crossell come to an understanding?
Well, yes, I believe we have.
Well then, that's good. Mr. Crossell, it seems that my client has no further claims against you.
Is that so? That's good. That's good.
Ya se le vio.
Actually, Mr. Crossell, I'd like to talk business for a second, if I may. I could see from the hairpins you produce that you're very skilled in jewelry design. My family, on the other hand, works in the ore business, and we have a fair stock of fine ores. If we could join forces, your jewelry designs and our choice ores, I think we could do some fine business between us.
Let me think for a moment.
Estaba la alternativa, ¿ah?
Well, that's that. And we've got the Smaragdus jadeite that Granny wants too. All's well that ends well, eh?
Sí, aunque nos encontramos con algún inconveniente en el proceso.
Exactly. Usually when someone tells us they've lost something, we end up searching all over the place for it. But this time, you managed to solve the problem with just a big stack of documents.
Mira, pudo ser peor. Pudiste ser tan quieta como Detective Conan y encontrarte con un asesinato en cada capítulo.
Even though the solution didn't involve actually finding the hairpins.
The right solution depends on your perspective on the problem. The objective of my client, Mr. Chow, was to reduce her liability to pay compensation. So, rather than looking high and low for some hairpins, proving that the rented item was nowhere near worth what the vendor had claimed it to be was the more efficient solution. An Adeptus. Speaking of, you took part in that battle, didn't you? In which case, you would have heard what Granny said. Liyue Harbor is now a city ruled by humans.
Eso es cierto.
The title of Adeptus means precious little to me compared to my job as a legal advisor. In any
También.
case, don't you think that the Liyue Harbor of today needs legal consultancy far more than it needs adeptal powers?
Paimon can think of someone who would definitely disagree with your reasoning.
Esto ya no tiene una explicación racional.
Well, since we got what we came for, it's time to pay Granny a visit. I bet she's been on tenterhooks for a while now.
Bueno, nosotros tenemos visión, así que podemos llevarnos la jadeíta Smaragdus. Sin problemas. Y no nos va a pasar nada. ¿Cierto? ¿Por qué ahora siento ganas de vomitar? Ah, debe ser un mareo. No, nada que ver. Igual me recordó demasiado a los capítulos de Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Aunque se lo jugué el primer juego, pero estaba muy bueno.
Ah, you've returned. How did it go? Were you able to find the Smaragdus Jadeite?
Sí, lo encontramos gracias a la pequeña Yanfei.
Good, good. Then we have all the materials we need.
Well, if we're all set, Granny, I'll get going now. Got a ton of clients waiting for me back at the office.
Oh, you. All right then. Go see to your business. Granny should be able to handle the rest.
I'm off then. Bye! Oh yes, Traveler. Make sure you don't lose the business card I gave you.
Okay.
I've been looking into the laws of other nations as well. If you should ever bump into any trouble with the law, come find me directly. Regulars get discounts too.
Come now, child. Are you
Conveniente,
leaving
¿no?
or are you not? If you have no wish to leave, perhaps you'd like to help me clean my teapot, hmm?
Me recuerda, la Yanfei me recuerda mucho a la Zafir cuando quiere hacer negocios como Vistar.
I'm leaving! I'm leaving!
That child. Goodness knows where she learned to be so rambunctious. Her father was hardly so riotous or fond of talking nonsense back in the day when he stood beside Rex Lapis.
Un Adeptus verdaderamente única.
Ah, indeed she is. Liyue has changed, and the Adepti must also learn to change.
Así es.
Yanfei might be overly garrulous, but she is also the most intimately acquainted with the city among us all. Ah, Liyue is not the same place I once knew.
La anciana.
All right, then. Let us speak of this no more. Back on topic. I believe that I still owe you a little gift.
Oh, Paimon's so excited! How is it made?
It is but a single teapot. It shan't take long at all. Just wait here for a moment.
Y ahora con Madame Pig empieza a hacer su regalo de forma misteriosa.
There we go. This Serenity Pot is all yours now.
El
Hold it
bote de la
firmly.
serenidad.
If you were to drop it, oh goodness, who knows what might happen. Take these blueprints with you as well. You'll need them if you wish to make your teapot a little more lively inside.
Se agradece mucho, anciana.
Wait a minute, Granny! How exactly are we supposed to use this teapot?
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I've already arranged for a certain little helper to await you within this teapot. She will explain everything you need to know about it.
El pote de la serenidad está desbloqueado. ¡Yay!
This is a
Y se va a desbloquear un montón de objetos. Veamos, creo que voy a ir a la morada flotante, de hecho. Sí, yo creo que es un poco más creativo que el estando en las nubes, supongo yo.
Wow! This teapot seems even bigger inside than Madame Ping's! There's even a great big house in the middle, too!
¿Cierto?
Huh. But there's just a whole load of nothing around it.
Paimon, cava un hoyo para vivir en él.
Hey! There's a perfectly good house right over there! Why should Paimon have to live in a hole in the ground? Still, why is it so empty here apart from that house? Oh, wait a second. What is that?
Ah, ya, 3 tipos de madera. Creo que no hay nada más hasta el momento. Ya más al rato supongo que vamos a conseguir más recompensas. Y estas son las carpas, ok, estamos bien, estamos bien. Nice.
Well, it seems that we have a visitor.
It's a huge finch!
Un pinzón.
Excuse me, I am not a finch. I am a teapot spirit, and you may call me... hang on a moment. What am I supposed to be called again?
Sí, buena pregunta.
Call me. I suppose you may call me Tubby.
¡Tubby! Es cierto que está bastante conectado.
So you're the little helper Madame Ping mentioned?
Madam Ping? Oh, you must mean Ping. Yes, she did summon me here. She told me much about you. You may leave all matters regarding the upkeep of this realm to me. Your journey may be far from over, but at least this way you will not want for a comfortable place to sleep each night.
¿Qué se supone que es un espíritu de la tetera?
Though it is the Adepti who create realms such as this, they generally do not have the time of day to attend to the banal matter of their maintenance.
O sea, es el que hace el mantenimiento a nuestra dimensión de bolsillo. ¡Qué lindo!
Thus, we teapot spirits were created to help guard their realms and manage their affairs. You may consider me a butler, if you will.
Oh.
Now, allow me to explain this realm to you. Have you any blueprints on you? Specifically, blueprints with beautiful rooms, chairs, and the like. As long as you have a blueprint, you can refashion this realm however you please.
Blueprints? Oh, that's right! Granny handed us some when she gave us the teapot, didn't she? Let's take them out and have a look.
Claro, ¿por qué no?
Yes, these are the blueprints I'm talking about. Go on, open them up. Just commit the image of the objects to memory and prepare the necessary materials.
Pero eso es solamente una mano desnuda. No estoy mostrando nada.
Then simply release the thought from your mind and the object in the blueprint shall appear within this teapot.
Wow! Is that all it takes? Then we could build a whole city inside, couldn't we?
I doubt it. A golden-eyed Adeptus explained this to me at some point in the past. He said that even though subspace creation is a product of adeptal power, even that has its limits. This world is not a true one, after all. It provides merely a moment of brief respite from the mortal realm, not a means of escaping it entirely.
A golden-eyed Adeptus? Paimon wonders who could that be?
Un adepto de ojos dorados. ¿Songli no tenía ojos dorados o había alguien más?
I hardly remember myself. What's more, I have never seen that Adeptus again since. Well, let's not dwell on that. Have a look around.
best you get accustomed to this realm. If there's anything you would like to ask, just look for me.
Ujú. Sí, eso ya. Vamos a ver cómo es la cosa. Con que así funciona. Ah, no se puso nada. Isla de viento. Ok. Ah, y se coloca de esta forma. No está mal, de hecho. Aunque creo que sí, es mucho mejor manejarlo con con la versión de PC, de hecho. Ahí. Que se olvida cómo es, más o menos. Ahí, más o menos. Unos arbolitos por aquí. Y por acá. Edificios principales. Este ya está entonces. Las modificaciones no se han guardado. Ah, perdón. Bueno, esto ya está puesto. Bueno, no tengo muchas decoraciones que digamos, así que... ¿Quieres guardarlas y salir? Sí, guardar los cambios. Colocando las decoraciones. Arbolito. Ay, lo puse detrás del lugar. Puse la herrería detrás de la casa. Ujú. A ver, ¿qué otra cosa se puede implementar acá? Muros, adornos grandes. ¿Qué pasa con el que tenía? ¿No lo puedo cambiar? Parece que no. Bueno, lo dejo así nomás.
Go, Barbara, go!
Forjar. Ah, aquí también se puede hacer la forja. No está mal. Y por lo menos aquí... Ah, ya te iba a decir.
Let the
Que,
show begin.
que aquí por lo menos el agua no se iba... Digo, la hierba no se iba a quemar. Ah, ahí está lo nuevo, ya. Vamos a ver adentro. Mhm. Esta es la mesa principal, al parecer. Ah, y para hacer más cosas supongo que habrá que buscar más materiales. O buscar más planos, de cierta forma. Sí, más materiales habrá que buscar entonces. Y aquí también se pueden usar habilidades dentro. Ah, está bien. Así que por lo menos se añade interactividad entre entre las personas y todo eso. Ujú. Ya estamos bien, creo que revisé lo suficiente por acá. Luego voy a seguir recolectando cositas más adelante, fuera de cámara.
Maybe you're not used to the place at the moment, but once you've materialized enough rooms and furniture through subspace creation, it will feel just like home.
Qué lindo. Rango de confianza. Hay mucho que hacer más al rato. Ujú. Ah, igual se tenía que llevar. ¿Qué es esto? Frasco de velocidad déptica. Contiene un poco de energía déptica. Úsala para completar inmediatamente la fabricación de una decoración. Supongo que es para acelerar ciertas fabricaciones. Digamos, hora 10 en lo que lo que estoy construyendo esta cosa. Voy a poner los lentes porque ya las pantallas de carga en blanco me van a terminar cegando. Vale, esto no. Hmm. Qué raro, pensé que tenía más, de hecho. A menos que solo sean decoraciones para distintas salas o cosas así. Sí. Bueno, creo que he visto ya suficiente. Además que aún nos queda otra cosita que resolver, ¿no? Este mismo. Ujú. Vámonos a Teyvat. Recompensas de expedición. Ah, verdad que estaba con eso. Es un buen método para ser creativo en su propio mundo. Espero que agreguen más cosas con el tiempo. Y no lo dejen botado, claro. ¿Verdad que esta no la había revisado? Me fui directo con la misión. Sigue después, a ver. ¿Dónde estaba la huevita? Ah, ya lo sé, creo que se está por la parte de arriba. Pero... Ah, la misión estaba aquí. Que no me acuerdo qué era, la verdad. Esa parte ya se me olvidó. Luego le voy a echar una limpiada a la pantalla de mi televisor, a ver si. Espina dragón, debe asegurarte de estar bien preparado. What? ¿Es todo? ¿En serio era todo? ¿Va? Pensé que había más cosas. Se me había olvidado que no había mucho más. Bueno, a ver. Supongo que ya con lo que hicimos aquí ya es suficiente. No hay mucho que hacer, aparte de los encargos y todo eso, así que... ¿Alguien necesita ayuda? Chiquillo, Ilian, Lunaki, no sé si está por ahí. ¿Ahora necesita ayuda con algo?
Ample light, active biological organisms. Yes, this is a good place to sketch.
¿No necesita la ayuda con los jefes o con alguna voladita así? Parece que no. Ya será entonces para otro día.
Sería repeguznarle a Lunaki.
Por eso mismo, porque como yo estoy aquí ahora, no se lo puedo preguntar.
Burst forth.
I'll protect us. Rain outlines your fate.
Coming to be witness my great undertaking.
Falta solamente el Elichur que está acá y voy a ganar un poquito más. No es necesario, pero lo voy a hacer igual. ¡Hello!
Coming to be.
Let's dance. Oh, hi.
Ya, a ver, ¿qué sigue? El encargo de esta parte. Y de ahí yo creo que voy a terminar el stream. Era solamente para terminar lo que me faltaba. Con las nuevas actualizaciones y todo eso.
Burst forth.
Let the show begin.
¡Wii! ¡No me atrapen el globo! No me traben el globo. Mierda, fallé. Ahí está. Ya. Pregúntale a Luna aquí por mientras. Pues, y ahí vemos si podemos ayudarle con los jefecitos. Y le damos para el valle. Ah, pero que todavía en el valle. Claro, no. Ay, todo esto no he subido al nivel del mundo. A ver. Restaurar el nivel del mundo, sí. Lo estuve haciendo todo el rato.
Ya le pregunté.
Se me olvidó subir el nivel del mundo.
Aún no dice nada.
Ah, ya.
Come into being.
Se me había olvidado. Ah, ese al final lo dejé para la izquierda. Quería ir a la derecha. Bueno, nada que hacerle.
No, my sword!
Va, este no lo quería. Nada de explosiones. Ya, ahora sí.
Dice que le faltan matar cubitos.
Pues vamos a matarle los cubitos mientras tanto. Ahora por lo menos ya está llegando. Un poco dañadito, pero ya está llegando. Sí, se me había olvidado subirle el rango de mundo. Ah, verdad que te coloco. Un mundo interior. Sí, ahí estamos. Ahora sí. Ah, sí, la comida. Ah, sí. ¡Azúcar! Que no se me está faltando el azúcar. Esto al máximo porque siempre se le requiere. Y las hamburguesas que se me habían acabado la otra vez. Al tope, al tope, al tope. Después habrá que comprar más leche para hacer mantequilla. Listo, ahí están los 20 platos. Ya. ¿Qué sigue? ¿Dónde está el otro encargo? Abajo parece, ¿no? Sí, acá está. Qué lata, hubiéramos hecho que no nos dieran 10 protogemas para ayudando a otras personas. Ayudando con sus tareas. Quería ayudar al chanchito y terminé matándolo. Pero al menos será una buena parrillada. Este debe tener un mago del abismo. O a ver, oh, lo sabía.
No, my sword!
Let the show.
Come into being. Feel this ancient power. Burst forth.
Let's dance.
Estoy pegando poco, pero es porque no ni siquiera tengo entrenado nada, Bárbara. Y estoy con los... Estoy con... ¿Cómo se llama esto? El set residual de Noel de 12 llamadas. No tira más madera. Ahí está la madera del Dul. Y ahí está. Lo demás. ¿Quién más sigue? ¿Dónde estaba la última huellita? ¿Dónde la había dejado? Ah, aquí. Con el tipo que se le llama el noveno. Ya, ahora sí, vamos para allá. A ver, si entonces el Basic Gears ya se había agregado a Rise y no lo mencionaron, ¿habrá otro monstruo también que habrán agregado y no lo han mencionado también? En una de esas que me terminaré sorprendiendo. A ver, ¿dónde? Ah, ya. Y me dirige hacia Live directamente, de hecho. Al aeropuerto. Se nota que le están dando mucho énfasis a este lugar. Va a llevar su mejor pescado, señor. Lo necesito para un buen cevichón. Un rico ceviche. Como se me antoja, de hecho. Pero después las salidas al baño, de ahí te lo encargo. ¿Será por lo picoso o por lo ácido? Eso quisiera saber yo. En fin, de todas formas te hace pebre la guata de una u otra forma. Pero Puta, que es un rico plato. Me encanta. Me encantaba. Y eso que tuve dudas de su apariencia. Que parecía, no parecía como no parecía un pescado tan sabroso, viendo cómo se veía. Entre tanto cilantro, tanto corte de pescado sin cocinar y eso. Y ahora con solo mencionarlo ya me está dando antojo. O hambre, mejor dicho. Bueno, antojo más que todo. Pero me dan ganas de comer un plato de ellos. Y con una buena cantidad de cebolla. ¿Qué sigue? Ah, lo de gastar la resina. Bueno, ya terminamos con los encargos. Ya tenemos la cuestión de la casita en la tetera. A pesar de lo extraño que se menciona. Así que yo creo que voy a terminar el live hasta aquí nomás y voy a seguir con el farmeo diario de siempre. Hasta que por lo menos pongan algo nuevo. No voy a hacer el abismo todavía. Como que no me atrae mucho, la verdad. Pero ya será otro momento para estar preparado. Creo que ya estamos bien, de hecho. No hay muchos platos que utilice para estar comprando bambú.
Ad Astra Abyssal.
Ya. Bueno, un stream cortito, pero ya hasta aquí yo voy a dejar el directo nomás. Gracias igual a todos por venir. Me alegro que me hayan acompañado, que me hayan acompañado a esta tarde de... Esta hora y media, de hecho. Fue cortito, sí. Pero es que igual como para no terminar tan tarde de proceso. Muchas gracias igual. Cuídense mucho, chiquillos. Pasen buena noche. Y ahí les voy a hacer una raid. Vamos a ver quién lo vamos a hacer un raid después.
Inso vemos pal, cuídate.
Sí. Nos vemos, Ilia. Cuídense igual. Así que, bueno. Así la cosa. No revivimos, gente. Cuídense mucho y disfruten del resto de la noche. A ver... Sí, vamos a empezar la raid. Ya, adiós.